Seniors, stop eating these 6 carbs and sugar. They are destroying your leg strength. You eat your vegetables every day. You skip the fried chicken. You've even made peace with oatmeal. And sometimes, you walk after dinner. You've done your part, so you believe. But what if I told you that some of the foods you trust the most, the very ones you reach for because they feel safe and familiar, might be quietly tiring out your heart? It's not your fault. For most of our lives, we've been told that eating greens and avoiding sugar is enough. But after 60, your body starts to change silently, subtly, and sometimes without warning. And the foods that once protected you, if not handled with care, they can become the very things that strain your heart day after day. I've seen it too often. A well-meaning senior walks into my clinic, confused about their blood pressure or why their medication isn't working. And the culprit isn't what they feared, it's what they trusted. This isn't a video to scare you. It's a conversation between me, a doctor who's been on this journey with many of you, and you, someone who still has so much life to live. Let's sit down together. Let's talk about your plate, your heart, and what quiet habits could make all the difference. Part 1. Spinach. When a superfood works against you. You've heard it your whole life. Spinach is a superfood. It's rich in iron, vitamin K, fiber. The list goes on. And for many people, it is a wonderful food. But here's something I've quietly observed in my clinic, time and time again for those of you on blood thinners, especially after a heart attack, stroke, or atrial fibrillation. Spinach. Yes, humble spinach can quietly undo your progress. Let me explain. Spinach is loaded with vitamin K, which helps your blood clot properly. That's a good thing, right? Usually, yes. But if you're taking warfarin or another blood-thinning medication, too much vitamin K can interfere. It thickens your blood again, reducing the effect of your prescription. It doesn't happen overnight. There's no warning bell. You just assume everything's working until something isn't. I've had patients who, in an effort to be healthier, started drinking green smoothies every morning, adding large bowls of spinach to every meal. A month later, they were sitting across from me after a stroke or a clot that could have been prevented. Here's what's important. The problem isn't spinach itself. It's inconsistency. Your body needs stability. If you're going to eat spinach, do it regularly and in moderation. And more importantly, let your doctor know. We can adjust your medication. What becomes dangerous is when your diet swings without anyone noticing. At your age, food isn't just nutrition anymore. It's part of your treatment. Every forkful can either support your medicine or work against it. So if spinach is on your plate tonight, don't be afraid of it. Just treat it with the same respect you'd give a prescription. Be steady. Be mindful. That's how we protect your heart, not by fear, but by balance. Now, if spinach, something we've always believed to be healthy, can quietly work against your heart, what about the vegetables that are hiding a far more obvious threat? Let's look at the next one. It might already be sitting in a jar in your fridge. Part 2. Pickled cucumbers. The salty crunch that pressures your heart. They're cool, crisp, and the perfect sidekick to a sandwich. A few slices of pickled cucumbers feel harmless, almost refreshing. But here's the quiet truth: many don't realize those innocent green slices are often soaked in a sea of salt. And if you're over 60, your heart may be paying the price, one bite at a time. I've seen this more times than I can count. A patient comes in, proud of cutting fried foods, walking daily, drinking more water, but their blood pressure still high, their medication not working as well, and they're confused, rightfully so. Then we look deeper. A few pickles here, a can of soup there, maybe some sauerkraut. And suddenly the answer is clear: sodium. Pickled cucumbers can contain up to 1,000 milligrams of sodium per serving. That's nearly 2/3 of the recommended daily limit for older adults. You may not taste the danger, but your arteries feel it. Salt draws water into your blood vessels, increasing volume and pressure. Over time, this leads to arterial stiffness, high blood pressure, and eventual heart failure. And what's most unsettling? There are often no symptoms. You feel fine until one day. You're not. It's a silent burden your heart carries, quietly wearing it down. I once had a patient who followed every doctor's order, but she loved her pickles. Just a few slices, she'd say. But over months, her pressure stayed elevated. When she swapped them out for fresh cucumber with a squeeze of lemon, her numbers began to stabilize. Now, I'm not asking you to give up flavor. I'm asking you to choose it differently. Use herbs. Try vinegar without the salt. Let your food sing without shouting. And most importantly, read your labels. Hidden salt is everywhere in canned vegetables, salad dressings, even healthy soups. At this stage of life, protecting your heart isn't about extremes, it's about awareness. If something as small as a pickle can push your heart into trouble, imagine what other seemingly innocent choices might be doing the same. Let's turn to one that brings heat, tradition, and if ignored, a dangerous rise in blood pressure. Part 3. Red chili peppers. When spice overheats a sensitive heart. For many of us, a little heat on the tongue brings a lot of joy to the heart. Red chili peppers, whether sprinkled in soup, stirred into stew, or sliced into a meal, carry culture, memory, and flavor. But as comforting as that warmth may feel, for a heart that's aging, the fire inside the food can spark a fire inside the chest. Let me share what I've seen again and again. A senior patient eats a spicy dinner, maybe it's homemade chili, maybe it's curry, and wakes up later that night with chest tightness, a racing heartbeat, or a sudden spike in blood pressure. They don't link it to the pepper, but physiologically it makes perfect sense. Chili peppers activate your nervous system, they raise your heart rate, trigger adrenaline, and narrow your blood vessels. When you're young and strong, your body can tolerate that extra stimulation, but after 60, the heart becomes more reactive and your arteries less flexible. What once gave you energy may now push your heart too hard. The real danger isn't the burn on your lips, it's the invisible inflammation in your blood vessels, simmering slowly over time. If spicy food is a frequent guest at your table, it may be quietly contributing to long-term damage, especially if you already have hypertension or arrhythmia. Now, am I saying you must give up all spice? No. What I'm saying is your heart no longer tolerates extremes the way it once did. You can still enjoy bold flavors, but the heat doesn't have to be intense to be satisfying. Try ginger for warmth, turmeric for depth, fresh herbs for fragrance. These alternatives can light up your plate without lighting up your blood pressure. Your cravings matter. Food is joy, and joy is medicine. But let that medicine work with your body, not against it, because what you eat should comfort your heart, not challenge it. And if even spice, a symbol of vitality, can pose a risk, what about something considered healing by many, even sacred? Let's take a look at a food often praised in natural medicine, but one that, when taken raw and unchecked, can quietly turn into a threat. Part 4. Raw garlic, a natural remedy that can cut too deep. Garlic has long been called nature's medicine. Many of you have probably heard your parents or grandparents swear by it, adding raw cloves to soup, chewing it in the morning, or swallowing it like a pill. And to be fair, garlic does offer benefits. It can help lower cholesterol, support immunity, and even improve circulation. But here's the truth that too few know: when you're over 60 and on heart medication, raw garlic can quietly become dangerous. You see, garlic, especially when consumed raw, acts as a potent blood thinner. If you're already taking anticoagulants like warfarin or aspirin, garlic can intensify their effects, making your blood too thin. And that means you might start bruising easily, experience unexpected nosebleeds, or in the worst cases, face internal bleeding that can be life-threatening. I remember one patient who was deeply committed to her health. She read every wellness article, avoided processed food, and took raw garlic every morning, believing it would keep her strong. But she started feeling lightheaded, tired, even dizzy. Her blood pressure was dropping lower than we expected. When we traced it back, the culprit wasn't her pills. It was the raw garlic she thought was helping. That's the difficult part about natural remedies. They feel safe because they come from nature. But natural doesn't always mean harmless, especially when mixed with medications and an aging body. And garlic's effects go beyond just thinning the blood. It can also interact with certain blood pressure medications, causing drops that leave you faint or unstable. But don't worry, you don't need to cut garlic out of your life completely. Cooking it reduces its strength while keeping its flavor and many of its benefits. Use it to season your dishes, not to shock your system. Talk to your doctor if you use garlic regularly. Keep a food journal if needed. The key is not to abandon tradition, but to update it gently, with the wisdom that comes from age. Now, if even garlic, an ancient symbol of healing, can pose a risk when misused, what about something even more delicate? Something raw, green, and often praised for its freshness. But that may quietly carry a threat you can't see with your eyes. Let's look closer. Part 5. Raw sprouts. The hidden danger in every crunch. They look so innocent, tiny, fresh, vibrant, whether it's alfalfa, mung bean, or clover. Raw sprouts are often seen as symbols of health. You might toss them into a salad, layer them on a sandwich, or blend them into a smoothie. But if you're over 60, those delicate strands may hide something your body is no longer equipped to fight. Sprouts grow in warm, humid environments, exactly the kind of conditions that bacteria like E. coli, Salmonella, and Listeria thrive in. While a younger body might handle such exposure with discomfort and a few days of rest, an aging immune system doesn't bounce back as easily. What begins as a mild stomach upset can escalate to dehydration, blood infection, or even endocarditis, a serious infection of the heart lining. I once had a patient in his 70s, active and conscious of his diet. He loved adding sprouts to everything. But after a brief illness turned into sepsis, we traced it back to a contaminated handful of raw sprouts. His recovery was long. His heart, already working hard, had to fight not just age but infection too. The saddest part, he thought he was doing the right thing. And that's the theme we keep returning to at this stage in life. What helps must also be handled gently. It's not that sprouts are inherently evil. They carry nutrients, enzymes, and crunch. But when eaten raw, they also carry a risk that quietly grows more serious as your immunity fades. So here's what I recommend if you love sprouts. Cook them. A gentle steam or quick sauté is often enough to kill harmful bacteria while preserving much of their nutritional value. And if you're served raw sprouts at a restaurant, it's okay to politely skip them. Your safety is worth more than a garnish. Your heart and immune system are like two old friends, still strong, still loyal, but no longer eager for surprises. Help them by offering food that's nourishing, comforting, and above all, safe. Now that we've explored these 5 hidden threats, you might be wondering, what's left? What vegetables can I truly trust? Let's turn now to the foods that support your heart, not challenge it, the ones I often recommend with confidence and sometimes with a quiet smile. Part 6. What to eat instead. Gentle vegetables that heal, not harm. After hearing all these concerns, you might be thinking, so what can I eat? Doctor, are all vegetables risky now? And I understand that feeling. Fear is not what we're aiming for. Clarity is. The goal isn't to strip your plate bare, it's to fill it with foods that speak kindly to your heart. Your heart doesn't need extreme diets, trendy detoxes, or flavorless meals. It needs balance. It needs food that cooperates with your medication, respects your slower metabolism, and supports your circulation without surprise. So here are a few vegetables I often recommend to my patients over 60, not just because they're heart-friendly, but because they're gentle, easy to prepare, and comforting. Let's begin with sweet potatoes. Unlike white potatoes, sweet potatoes are rich in potassium, which helps balance sodium levels and regulate blood pressure. They're naturally sweet without spiking blood sugar and can be enjoyed boiled, baked, or mashed. Then there's steamed broccoli, a powerhouse of antioxidants and fiber. Yet soft enough on digestion, broccoli helps reduce inflammation in blood vessels and provides vital support for your arteries. Sautéed kale is another wonderful option. Cooked lightly with olive oil and garlic in moderation. Kale becomes easier to digest and less likely to interact with medications. It's rich in vitamin C and calcium, which are important for vascular tone and heart rhythm. Don't forget legumes like green beans and lentils. They are full of plant-based protein, fiber, and minerals. A warm lentil soup or a simple dish of green beans with lemon and herbs can offer deep nourishment without stressing your system. Roasted carrots, with their subtle sweetness and beta-carotene, can help reduce oxidative stress, one of the silent culprits behind arterial damage in older adults. What do all these foods have in common? They're soft on the gut, friendly with medications, and calming to the heart. And here's a little secret I often share with my older patients. Your food doesn't just feed your body, it feeds your peace of mind. I've seen patients recover not only physically, but emotionally, when their meals became more consistent, simpler, and rooted in care. A bowl of bean soup, a plate of roasted root vegetables, a quiet breakfast of oats and boiled greens. These aren't just meals, they're medicine disguised as comfort. Worried that eating healthy might mean bland food? It doesn't have to be that way. Herbs like rosemary, turmeric, basil, lemon zest, and yes, even a bit of cooked garlic can lift flavor without raising blood pressure. Your meals can still bring joy without inviting risk. So, next time you sit down at the table, don't ask yourself, is this trendy? Ask, is this gentle? Is this steady? Does this support the heart that's been beating for me every second of every day? And now, there's just one more thing left to talk about, because even the best vegetables can't undo a certain kind of damage if one silent habit continues. Let's end with what may be the most important reflection of all. Part 7. A Heart with Time Still Left, The Power of Gentle Change. Your heart has been beating faithfully since the day you were born, more than 2 billion times by the time you turned 60. It's never asked for applause. It's just kept going quietly, steadily, lovingly. But now it's asking for something small in return: your attention. Not panic, not perfection, just attention. As we age, our bodies shift. What once protected us might now press too hard. The garlic that once energized you might now thin your blood too far. The pickles you craved for their tang might quietly raise your pressure. These are not reasons to fear food, but reminders to know it more deeply. The truth is, it's not too late. Your heart is still strong enough to respond. With every thoughtful choice, from what's on your plate to how you rest at night, you can start to undo the quiet stress of the years behind you. I've seen it with my own eyes. Seniors who felt tired, confused, or discouraged begin to walk with lighter steps, to sleep more soundly, to feel steady again. Not because they found a magic cure, but because they started listening. They made small, kind changes and stayed with them. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be consistent. For yourself, for the people who love you, for the years still waiting for you. So tonight, check your plate again. Sit with your habits. Ask if they're still serving the person you are today, not the person you used to be. Because your next heartbeat is a gift, and it's still yours to protect. If this video helped you reflect, leave a comment below with a simple one just to say, I'm still learning, And if there's a food or habit you're rethinking after today, I'd love to hear it. Until next time, take care of your heart. It's still taking care of you. If this conversation spoke to you even in a small way, please consider sharing it with someone you care about. Sometimes, just one insight can change a lifetime of quiet habits. Leave a 1 in the comments if something resonated with you today. And if it didn't, leave a 0 and let me know how I can support you better. Your opinions matter here. Your voice matters. And most of all, your heart still matters. Thank you for spending this time with me. Until we meet again, be gentle with yourself. The best chapters may still be ahead, one steady heartbeat at a time.